everybody, and welcome to the Liars Club. I'm Felicia Michaels.
And I'm Jessica Wellington.
And what we do here at the Liars Club is we have two of our comedy pals come on. We ask them to tell two stories. One is the truth, one is a lie. And then we'll ask questions. They can ask each other questions. We have people playing along live on the Comedy Store's YouTube page. By the way, if you're listening to this podcast, know that we do stream this podcast live on Mondays at 4:30-ish and on most Fridays at 8:30-ish. So you guys can come along and play along. Austin here, on-air producer, will be taking the questions and answers and thoughts that everybody has. Would you introduce our guest, Jessica?
I would love to. Thank you so much, Felicia. Over to my left, this gentleman, he is a stand-up comedian. He pals around with Robert Kelly. He also has a podcast called Yogi and the Man-Child.
Oh, my God. Man-Child and the Yogi.
I'm
Jessica,
first. Embarrassing, Jessica.
Aaron Putnam.
Yay! Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you so
for
much.
coming to join us.
And the lovely lady across from him, you've seen her on Hart in the City.
Of the city.
Of the City.
Jeez, Jessica.
And she Googles it beforehand.
with Kevin Hart. She also has her own show that she's doing, Coffee with Crystal. Crystal with Coffee.
Yep.
Okay.
Either way.
Crystal or coffee?
Yeah.
The worst.
Do you think I'm Michael's Felicia?
Crystal is coffee? Yes.
Are you having a stroke?
This is Crystal Powell.
Yes.
Yay! Thank you for
guys.
showing up and doing our show, Crystal.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So let's just jump right to it. By the way, our engineer today is Michael Evans, and we've had a big amount of help today from Brett Erickson and Todd Walker and all that kind of jazz. Michael,
We're not going to have any foreplay?
you want to talk about something? What do you want to talk about?
What's on your mind?
Yeah, rub on me, baby. I want it all.
Yeah, what do you want to talk about?
Dirty.
Well, recently I called you,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, I think I know what I need to do for my career.
Yeah.
Remember this? I had watched two documentaries, one on Eddie Murphy and one on Andrew Dice Clay.
Which you're very much like both of those people.
Totally.
Yeah. See Eddie right now. See it. Yeah.
Red leather suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, and they both idolized Elvis, right? Now, I've already got the hair. I got good hair.
You got great
Right?
hair. Yeah.
And I was like, what I need to boost my career is a leather suit.
Have you ever been in a leather suit?
No.
Then I don't want to hear your shit. You know what I mean? Has anybody here ever been in leather pants?
I have.
Yeah. And what is the worst thing that can happen to you in leather pants?
Crotch sweat.
Yeah,
Fart?
lots of crotch sweat.
Swamp ass.
Yeah, yeah.
As you walk.
Yeah, you
Well,
have
what-
a lot
just
of
to wear
things,
on
but you ain't got
stage.
no
Even
ass
worse.
to put in some
Yeah.
leather pants. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm going to show you.
I'm just saying, it's like
What you
probably
talking
like
about?
$2,500 for a leather suit.
What you talking about? The
Well,
real deal.
I'll make my own.
Yeah.
You're gonna make
Come
your
on,
own
yeah,
out of
fake
what?
leather.
Pleather?
Yeah. she's
Yeah.
gonna leather.
Leather is in nowadays.
All right, you could do it. You want? I think it would be attractive.
What about a leather dress?
I did see an Elvis Halloween costume on your wish list on Amazon. Is that what that was for?
Is there really? Did I put that on there?
No, that'd be great. Though.
Oh.
Oh.
I
Try
hate that
harder,
she couldn't
Austin.
remember.
You're
She
like,
was
really?
like, what night did I do that?
All right, so is that enough fucking foreplay? Can we start the game now?
Titillated.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean,
No,
yeah.
I think you.
I'm
you
going to call you tomorrow.
Yeah,
Like,
don't worry about what other people are doing or wearing on their specials. You just keep writing and taping your sets. God damn it, get your TV set done. That's what you need to work on. Is get your guy. And then what did I say to you when you?
That's what you said to
yeah,
me,
get
and I
your
was
fucking
like,
TV set
I was
done.
like, nah, leather.
No, I know. Trust me when I tell you.
TV. Leather is it. Who needs late night? I got leather.
Anyway, so let's start our game. And Aaron, why don't you start first?
All right, here we go. See, my first story, September 10th, actually, 2001.
Wow, okay. Going
yeah,
for the
that's-
juggler.
That's how old I am. What? New
The
York?
what?
Juggler?
Juggler.
That's the thymus gland.
That's one of those people that throws balls in the air. A juggler.
So, I was dating a girl at the time in New York, and she worked for a fashion company. So we went to the Marc Jacobs after party. And if anyone remembers that time in New York, probably not. But super bad rain, flooded out, whatever. Everyone got really fucked up. That night, went back to the Mercer Hotel. And
Mercer Hotel,
yes.
that's what it's called?
Prince-
Like after the infection you get at
that's it. I'm not a doctor.
the hospital?
Mercer, what
That's a
kind
staph infection.
Oh, that's Mercer.
Siri, look up
Mercer.
of...
Wednesday.
Oh, shut up. What's up
So-
with you today? You are stroking out.
So Mercer is a street in New York in Soho at the corner of Prince. Anyways, we stayed there, got super hammered. I used to get really hammered. And
No.
yeah, woke up in the morning to, the towers have fallen.
Okay.
I'm like, bullshit. I'm hungover. Look out. Indeed, they were falling. What do? Continue to drink all day. And
So
then
you could see him from your hotel.
basically you could see the smoke because it's
From
facing
Mercer Street?
Mercer and Prince. So if you're looking through Mercer Street down to Canal, you can see the towers up through Tribeca. And obviously all the commotion for it happening. So long story short, we were isolated. We couldn't leave. We couldn't go above Houston and below Canal, which I lived on Canal and Mercer. So I was stuck there all day. We kept drinking, stayed there all night. Basically the place was packed because it was fashion week. People were stranded there.
At the
And-
hotel?
At the hotel.
So
people-
you
Did
were
pe-
at the hotel, not at your apartment?
No, I couldn't get to my apartment.
Okay.
So it was like insane. Like nobody could leave. Like I was a mess, hungover, and we started drinking again, and everyone's
Did they
freaking
let
out.
you stay in your room?
In the room? No, everyone was in the lobby, and they're running out of food. They're just basically like nobody could
But
leave.
did they kick you out of the room?
Yes.
They did. They were like, we got to turn this room
Well,
over.
basically no matter what, they're like, hey, 11 o'clock is checkout time.
No matter
You know what I mean?
what. Fuck.
We- We're
Even
talking
if
about
the
Willis.
towers fall,
Yeah.
you have to
But
check
there
out
were
at 11.
so many people. I mean, the insensitivity of some of the people in there. There was a dude that was pissed off because there was no more salmon for his dog. It was like some fashion piece of shit. It was like really bad. People were acting really poorly. I felt bad how I was acting. I should have been more concerned with what was going on, but I was just like fucked up. And
Yeah.
so basically 9 o'clock that night, it's still commotion. We stay there. Steven Dorff is in the hotel room in the lobby. And my girlfriend at the time, she's a real piece of shit. But long story short, his assistant sat next to me and kept getting me more and more fucked up. Why? Because Steven Dorff was trying to take my girlfriend to his hotel room. So that happened.
So he got to keep his hotel room.
He got
And
to,
your girl.
and I,
Lost your room and your woman in one day. Fuck
And-
the towers.
I know, the woman you
Right?
could take, but your fucking
Yeah.
room? Rude.
so he didn't give a shit about that either. But I should have known because the whole time he was kind of like talking to me, and I guess I was so young, I was probably kind of star fucking him too. I was just like, "Oh, what's up, man?" He's like, "Yeah, dude, just sit over here, get another drink." The whole time he's doing that so he can take my girlfriend away, which she now that I think about it, she'd probably done that 100 times to me, and she was just kind of that kind of girl. But in the morning, I woke up, passed out. I was like on the couches downstairs, and I was like, "Where is she?" This is before like iPhones. Had my little flip like StarTAC or something. I'm like, "What the hell is going on?" I finally get to cross over to my house at Canal and Mercer. Get home. I'm like, what the fuck happened? I get a hold of her, and she's just like, oh, I went home early, blah, blah, blah. You passed out. And then I find out later that she was upstairs blowing Steven Dorff.
How did you find out she
Yeah.
was up there?
Yeah.
A couple of my friends were like, dude, because I had friends that worked at the Mercer Hotel. So, like, there's a bar upstairs and a bar downstairs. And they're like, dude, do you see what was happening last night? I'm like, what? He's like, Steven Dorff, your girlfriend, like, she disappeared. I'm like, I don't know. I was wasted. Asked her about it. She's like, Aaron, don't worry about it. She denied it for a while. I found out later it was indeed true.
So Steven Dorff stealing your girlfriend was literally your 9/11.
Pretty much.
Man, brutal.
Oh, but I like it.
And then he was gone forever, as far as like being in the spotlight. And then he came out in True Detective. I'm like, that motherfucker. And I told my wife, I'm like, that guy fucked my girlfriend.
I always thought he was
With a-
secretly gay. I mean, no big deal, but
Yeah.
I didn't know.
He's
he
a
was
little
that-
dude,
Yeah.
for sure.
Walking around smoking blue cigarettes
But
and stealing girlfriends.
But it taught me, it's like in New York too, it's like you think you're like rubbing elbows with these people and they're like, this piece of shit. I'm going to fuck his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And,
Maybe he saw it from a different point of view. Maybe he's like, this is the last night on Earth, and this
Last night on
drunk
Earth.
piece
He
of
had-
shit
he had
Yeah.
some
isn't keeping
intuition.
it together. Yeah, for
He
his
knew
woman.
9/11
So
was
I'm gonna
coming.
keep it together for his woman.
very true.
Or maybe he
okay.
was like, he thought he was saving her from an alcoholic.
Yeah.
You know what? That's right. As an alcoholic who's been able to make amends with myself and other things, it's like, now I know why I couldn't keep anything in my life. Like, who the fuck wants to be with a guy that cannot stand up by 9 o'clock at night?
Right.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Once you're sober for a while, you're able to live with all that stuff. But
Yeah.
at the time, I was definitely
Wow, I'm sorry to hear that. That's a Nashville country song. I lost my room and my woman.
On 9/11.
On 9/11. That's what happened on 9/11.
I don't know the difference between Iraq and Iran.
But check it, Mercer Street.
That is a real song by Alan Jackson.
It is. Yeah. Remember when?
I was like, how did you come up with that?
Melody hopes that.
Jump off
I had no
Is that a
idea.
real song?
Melody hopes that this is not a lie masked in tragedy, and
I
said
know,
hashtag never
I
forget.
know.
Sadly, it's not.
Okay.
I know, and you're like, I'm going to need a story. 9/11.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. That
Yeah.
should be your first choice.
Yeah, because I was in high school, and I was in class, and I was already signed up to go in the Air Force as it happened.
Oh,
Wow.
really?
You're like, nope,
Not today.
not today.
Excuse me, change my mind. Gotta go.
Wow.
On a
Somebody's
serious
calling.
note, though, it's like you see how people like. I feel still bad about how I acted at that time. A lot of people were running down to Tribeca and trying to help out with bringing water and
Yeah.
helping people.
Not
And
you,
then there's
though.
and
Just
the other
want to
people,
get your drink on.
yeah, staring at the TV, getting fucked up, going, "Oh, like we're a part of this 9/11." You know, it's like bullshit. So yeah, I feel bad about some of that stuff.
Do you do you think you drank more because you had fear, or you're just like any situation for a party?
Like why I drank?
Yeah, that night in particular, why you got so fucked
No,
up?
because my whole life was about drinking. So
Yeah.
as a person that's in recovery and like I was
Uh-huh.
such a blackout drunk, no matter what I was doing, it had to involve drinking.
You'd use
Mhm.
anything for an excuse, probably, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I stubbed my toe. I should have a shot.
Life of the party. Oh yeah, it's cold out. Oh, I'd like a
And
Baileys
were
and
you
coffee.
It's
pretty-
noon somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Were you pretty hungover? Were you pretty hungover?
I never had hangovers because I drank like pretty early. Like I mean,
Woo.
by that time in my life, I was already like by 11. I'd be like, well, I'm shaky.
Did you
Let's
have a lot of
drink.
diarrhea during that time?
Do you know much about that stuff? Yeah, of course.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I just imagined me one night of drinking. Ooh,
Okay, basically
Really?
when you're
right?
when
And then
you're,
if you keep going, my God.
when you're a for real alcoholic,
Lord.
like your body just can't even handle it. So like you're just constantly
Yeah.
like almost shitting your pants.
Really?
Do you have any recollection of walking down? Was there like the dust from the fire?
It was-
the explosion?
it was so brutal
Did you
because
see people injured? Did
You would see
anything?
this. So basically, like if you know that part of New York, all the way up to 6th Avenue, which goes all the way
Uh-huh.
up the church that way, and then all the way up to like Broadway or Lafayette, you saw people just covered in dust walking
Uh-huh.
all the way home, all the way to Harlem, all the way to because all the trains are down, nobody can go anywhere.
Right.
It was brutal. It was
Yeah.
insane. And I lived. Pearl Paint is on Canal and Mercer's, like all these warehouses and stuff. I lived at that corner, which the Holland Tunnel comes out of,
Yeah.
and that just separates Tribeca and Soho, and it's just like that's where everything was happening.
I was so fortunate in that terrible tragedy, as I had lived in New York for about 9 years, and we literally moved like 3 or 4 months before then.
Right.
And I had 2 little babies, and we literally
Oh.
just moved.
Just out.
Yeah, and I remember like we lived in this really tall building, and one time there was a fire in my building, and I remember all these firefighters. No, it was a fire in the building next door, where it was Macaulay Culkin's family had an apartment, and it caught fire. It was in the news. It caught fire, and so the firemen had to run up their high rise, but also run up our high rises. You know, like 80 stories or something crazy, and I thought about, and that happened like right before we moved, and I thought about afterwards how very few of those gentlemen survived. You
For
know,
sure.
when you remember their faces and that they had no fear, and to think that not many of those survived.
Yeah, the first
Yeah.
responders for sure. All those,
Yeah.
a lot of houses.
No one ever
Wah,
thinks about
wah.
that everybody's, when we're running away, they
Yeah.
gotta run towards.
Towards it,
yeah.
yeah.
And I know I couldn't.
Yeah,
I just,
well-
too scary.
Yeah, too scary.
Yeah.
Well, that's a really intense first story, and so no,
I know.
mean,
You know,
it's intense.
I kind of
It's like,
racked my
that's a
brain. I was
serious
like,
story.
you know, most of my stuff has to do with how I used to live my
Uh-huh.
life. But you know,
My story.
Yeah.
I'd say
Oh
the
my
9/11 part is pretty intense, but him having his girlfriend stolen, I mean,
I
is
know,
that
but
as
just
intense?
that someone could get a boner on 9/11, you know what I mean? Like,
well,
you
that's-
got a lot on your mind at that
well, that's
moment.
my other
you
point. Is
know?
like everyone just wants to be a part of shit like that. Like it's I'm here for the tragedy. Cool. I mean, if it would have been like Instagram days or whatever,
Right.
hashtag I'm right here at Mercer. You know, it's like
yeah.
New York.
The people that film instead of helping.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
She feel
then, know, anything you want to add there, Austin?
Well, there was somebody who was late to our stream today, so they asked what they missed, and Melody Martinez wanted to catch them up by saying Alcoholics Anonymous Vince Vaughn's girlfriend blew a famous dude on 9/11 in New York. So
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, he was around a lot that time.
Yeah.
Pretty much
Just-
the long short of it. Yeah.
All right, Michael Evans, do you have any thoughts you'd like to throw in?
I mean, I don't know. I kind of need to hear. I need to hear another story from
Yeah,
this dude.
I know, to judge it, right?
Because I want to know. I'm not sure that he would be willing to lie about it. You know, mask the lie in the national tragedy. You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's fucked up
Yeah.
if
Oh,
you're
yeah,
lying.
we know how
That's
that goes.
super
If
fucked
not,
up.
if this is a lie,
Yeah.
though, I mean, I'm in. This guy's
What
really
about
got
if it's a
some
true
shit.
story, but it's not Steven Dorff? It's like someone like even less famous.
Right.
Now, who exactly is Steven Dorff?
The blue
even though I
cigarettes,
laughed all the
blue
way through
cigarette
that.
commercial.
Me
You know,
too.
the guy's all raspy
He was just
voice,
in the
black and white, and he
True
smokes
Detectives
blue
new
cigarettes.
season. He's made a little
Oh,
bit of he
yeah.
made a comeback a
Okay.
little
He
bit.
was in True Detective.
You don't know the blue cigarettes commercial? You
No.
vape during the show.
The
I quit
first-
smoking.
You're vaping.
That's what blue cigarettes are. They're
Oh, no,
that.
I don't know then. I don't have
Yeah.
cable.
Oh. Sorry.
I know what Mercer disease is, but I ain't got no fucking cable. I know not what you talk about,
Mercer
Austin.
disease.
All right, let's move on to your second story. I mean, first story.
Okay. Not gonna be able to top that, but I'm a girl. It's about love. And when I was in college, there was this guy that I was in love with, and I did everything retarded to get his attention. Like
Where did you go to school?
Prairie View A&M.
What is that?
It's a HBCU, historically black.
Okay.
Okay, you got a black friend. I need you to know that.
Talk slowly.
She said that before the show. Hey, we got a black in here. Make sure we got lighting. And I was like, whoa.
And in some fucked up way,
She
she was
means
looking
well.
out for you. Yeah.
She means well.
I know she did. But it's a college outside of Houston, Texas. And I'm from a very small town in Texas, so I'm not girly. Like I always talk about your voice. I think it's amazing. So I played sports, so I was always awkward and tomboyish and just really didn't know. So I always tried to get his attention, and he never paid me any attention. He always wanted me to hook him up with my friends. And so I even convince myself, like what we do when we really want something and we don't get it, then we convince ourselves that we didn't want it anyways. So I was like, oh, I don't even like him anymore. Girl, you can have him, blah, blah. So I went through like 4 years of college of watching him date all of my friends and just secretly thinking that I wasn't enough and he was just the best steal.
He was probably like, if I have to fuck all her friends to get her attention, I will.
No, I mean, I let it be known. Like, I'm not that person that, you know how people are like, oh, only call once. And if they don't return your call, call again. Not me. Hey, in case you didn't get that, I'm calling again. Back to back, back to back. I'm calling. He knows that I'm into him. And I guess I just wasn't girl enough, but the story turns, like life happens. So like later in life, not that I'm that much older, we ran into each other, and he was like, I was telling him about it. I was like, man, what was wrong with me in school? Like, why didn't you like me? Da da da. And of course he gave me that. He goes, I really didn't know. And I was like, how did you not know? And he was like, I just did not know. And I was like, well, ain't no time like the present. And he was like, all right, so we're going to dinner. Juiced, excited, talking to my girls, putting my Spanx on, getting my life together, ain't eating all day, ready. We go to dinner. It's the best dinner. Like, he actually picks me up. It's not none of that old school stuff. You know, the young boy stuff. It's the old school stuff where a man actually picks you up, takes you to dinner. And I don't know if y'all know it, but women know within the first 5 minutes if they're going to give you some or not.
Yeah, I
We
believe
know. Okay. So that night, like, it was going great. And I was like, oh, I'm so glad that I waxed and took care
Steven
of things.
Dorff, Steven Dorff knows that.
that. Why did I say his name?
So, like, I just knew it was perfect. It was so perfect. And we went to dinner, so I invited him over to my place. We're getting into it. So I'm nervous. I'm nervous, so I have some edibles. Yeah. So I have some edibles, and I kind of like stay in the bathroom for like an extra 15 minutes to wait for them to kick in.
What?
Yeah,
What kind of question is that?
No, because I wanted it. I'm nervous. Like, you got to realize this has been 20 years I've been waiting for this
like,
man.
she is going in a massive way in there.
She's taking a huge shit.
No.
Oh, by the way, where are you getting edibles that kick in 15 minutes? Because
Yeah.
I need those.
Well, I mean, 15, 20 minutes. Yeah.
No, he doesn't. Okay.
Oh, okay. So I stay in there, plus because I got on lingerie. I'm wanting to do the whole deal. This ain't gonna just be no flannel type night. This is important. So I have my stuff on. I have my lingerie. I come out, and he's like, man, he was like, this was so, it's everything. He was like, this is so worth the wait. So I start like dancing for him, right? And I'm dancing, and I fucking pass out and break my fucking dining room glass table and wake up in the emergency room. He's not there. And the people are, she's like, I'm show you. Look right here. Look right here.
He left
Look at that.
you?
No, well, he took me.
But he left you there.
But he left me and never returned a phone call.
Yeah.
But he did tell my friends, because they knew that I was fucked up. He was like, if a woman throws up, or if she's drunk, or if she's on drugs, she's just not the woman for me. So I waited all that time and still didn't get with the guy.
But he could have at least called you and said, I want to make sure you're okay.
He didn't do none of that. He didn't even stay in the hospital when I got there, and when I woke up, his ass was gone.
You dodged a bullet or something.
No, I didn't. Like, I still at least wanted to see. Like, I still didn't get to the prize.
No,
we
fuck-
had dinner.
fuck
We
that
did all
guy.
of that. I mean, he's
If you
fat.
wouldn't have stayed that 15 minutes, then you would have
If I wouldn't have had those edibles,
passed out
I
while
never
you were
do good
having
on
sex,
edibles.
and then it would have been like.
But
you
I'd at
know.
least remembered the first part. That's all we remember anyways, is the first 5 minutes.
Really? You don't remember anything after 5 minutes?
By then you start thinking about other stuff.
After 5 minutes?
Think about it, when you first get started, you like, yeah, but then when it's just a you be like, man, what I got to do after
Oh, yeah,
this?
you say that all the time.
Yeah, but not after 5 minutes.
Let me ask you
Not
this.
After 5 minutes, at least 20. I'll give it 20 to 30, but after that, I'm just
20 to 30. How long are you having sex, woman?
Sometimes way long because
Yeah.
she complains about it.
I like it long, yeah.
Like 40 minutes?
She's like, if
20
it
to
goes
30
too long,
minutes
that's
is-
enough. Like
No,
30 minutes is...
I'm pretty game, but after a while,
game.
I'm pretty game, but after 30 minutes, it's like, I'm not your exercise machine. Get the fuck out.
Yeah, 30 minutes is too
Yeah.
Let me ask you
long.
this:
I'm sorry,
can you tell if a guy or him? Could you tell that, like, if you're not gonna do the job the right way? You ever with a guy and you're just like, this is.
Oh, if I can tell if he ain't got no motion in the
yeah,
ocean?
if he's not gonna.
I
do his
can't tell
job.
just by looking at him. Even
No, I mean like 5 minutes in, you're like, this guy's not gonna make.
oh,
me
you
come.
know, but entrance, entry right
pretty
there.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes
like,
people
don't cough.
surprise you.
I work
Sometimes you'll be
hard.
like, "What?" And then you
He
kiss
said,
them.
"I work hard."
I work hard.
Well, I
Are
mean,
you
yeah,
sure?
people can
Well,
trick you though, because
No.
they'll do good foreplay, and that'll make you think that,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, I
it's about
never.
to go down, and then here comes nothing.
I cover my ass with that for sure. I go foreplay first for sure.
Oh,
You're not like a fucking machine, though. I hate that.
No.
When someone's like screwing you so hard, right?
I'm just
And
yeah.
then they're just
I love
going
that
at
she's
it.
You like that?
you so hard. Like.
And I know, and then it starts to get like friction down there because they're just like
You got a
like
pat
they're-
when you TT.
Like what are those? One
Yeah.
of those things that get into the ground like like
Yeah.
Jackhammer.
like when a guy jackhammers you, right? I hate when a guy jackhammers. When a guy jackhammers you, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, "Fuck, who's tarring a roof?" Right? You know what I mean? Because it's that much friction. I don't like that
It's got to
either.
be a little more subtle, right?
I mean, you need some rolls in there. Do you put some rolls in there?
I
got
can't do
rules,
that.
right?
You got to do all of that. When it's just a jackhammer, you get tired of that. Just
I'm
throw
insecure
some-
about my penis, so I just go downtown first and then. Go from
But
there.
we can tell that sometimes. If you spend too much time down there, it's like, now come on, bro. Where's the entree? You done had what? It's time to eat for real. What's happening? So if you spend too
so
much
happy
time
I'm
down
married.
Now, as much as I
Okay.
love all this sex talk,
there,
Sorry.
Okay.
all right, I feel like we are diverting from her story,
Oh.
which is maybe what she wanted.
Why'd you turn into Joy Behar there for like this? All this sex talk?
she did.
Let's talk butter.
Yeah.
Who do you think gets laid more, you or Joy Behar?
I haven't had sex in a long time. That's why I'm like, oh, this is nice.
I know me. Either.
But
I'm all big talk. I'm lining something up though.
I'm
But
doing it
all
5
big talk.
times a day.
Finding something up.
but I want to know, what does that guy do now?
He's a fat school teacher.
See, you did dodge a bullet.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, but I didn't dodge a bullet for my self-esteem because, sometimes when you want something so bad,
Right.
And then I still feel, even though now, like, I make fun and I'll sneak and still go to his page, or when I go back to Texas, I want him to come to my show.
You still have it hard for him?
Well, I have it hard because of the fact that he never said yes, and then to just leave me.
She didn't get it.
Yeah, and then to leave me. You don't know. I could have had, like, some trauma go on the next day.
That is fucked up. That
you know what I mean?
He left.
You at least give me that, because I'm not a bad person.
Maybe that 15 minutes you were in the bathroom, he was
probably
going
wasn't
around
even
his
15
your
minutes.
apartment.
I was just getting myself together and ready and psyching myself out.
And
But
to
you
be-
don't leave me.
No,
don't leave me.
Just to be honest, like, he doesn't know that you were fucked up. What if you just passed out, like you fainted?
Well, we had the tox screen at the hospital. He found out that when he took me to the hospital that I was fucked up because I had to do tests and shit.
But they're not supposed to tell him if he's not a relative.
He brought me in there though.
But he's not a relative.
No.
Oh, good.
TV rules.
She
the
watched too
hospital.
much SVU. Dun, dun, dun. You are not supposed to give out her records if you are not a birth.
Do we have any comments from our lovely
He's on there with his
listeners?
fat ass talking about, I'm sorry.
Oh, the fat word, throwing it around so
sorry.
hurtful. I'm just kidding.
Well, you
Pretty
brought
hot and
up the
tempted.
rolls.
Yeah, you did.
I did,
that
sorry.
up,
And
yeah.
you touched him.
Ken's not buying the story because of the edibles timeline, which is kind of
I
I
agree.
question
People
as
with their
well.
weed, man. There's
Yeah.
Leah
I
says,
agree.
"Where did this myth come from that women want it all night long?" Hell no.
Exactly.
I do want some though.
Some.
Okay.
Melody
15
says,
minutes.
"My batting average is going to take a hit this episode because of these crazy intro stories." And yeah, that's pretty much all caught up, I think.
All right, Michael Evans, would you have anything you would like to say about her story?
Yeah, ever since Steve Renazizi set the 9/11 tone over here,
Yeah.
I'm like, Jesus Christ, all this on 9/11. Like, what a day, a broken table. I have to remind myself that yours was not on 9/11.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't really see why this story doesn't check out. It seems kind of realistic to me.
I agree. I don't buy the weed timeline because edibles take longer than 15 minutes. Number one. Number two, why 15 minutes in the restroom? That shit should have been all cleaned up and ready to go before
No,
the day.
psych myself. Have you ever so you don't get nervous before sex?
Why
Not a
would I
little?
get? Why? Because
If you have, if it's somebody, no, it's you
Right.
gotta
Yeah.
realize
You're
this is
right.
somebody that has always said no to me that I wasn't good enough for, and then when I finally do get
No,
him,
that's you projecting because he said he didn't even know. He never said no to you. No,
What's this
no,
guy's
no.
name? Derek?
no,
What is it?
Jason Wheeler. Look him up on Facebook.
Oh. All right. I
Like
don't know. I mean, it's
Jason.
a good first strong story. I have to see how you tell your second story.
Okay.
And it's a good departure from the Steven Dorff story.
Jeez.
No, I mean
Yeah,
that
but
was a
the
great
Dorff
opening.
man got
yeah,
laid.
He's not
Steven Dorff,
listening, is
yeah.
he?
That was a first great story though. Both of you had two great stories. So let's move on to your second story.
Okay, so around the same time, not 9/11 or whatever, 2000 something. Anyways, I lived in a big loft with three girls, kind of like that Three's Company thing. We're all good buddies, hung out a lot, just platonic, whatever. Blah, blah. So I was kind of like their brother. Good situation.
After 9/11 or before?
It was
said
after
2000
two-
something, yeah.
2003,
Sorry,
4.
sorry.
All this kind of shit was happening before, like iPhones and stuff. So this brings me to my point. So I would get pretty fucked up as usual. Like, I'm sorry, it's all about alcohol, but I would come home pretty late, and we had one TV in the house. It was in the living room. It was that big back. I don't know, before flat screens, all that shit. I had one red, like a tape, like a Hustler tape, and it was like my little jerk tape or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So our bed, basically, if you know these loft situations, yeah,
I didn't know. I was like, what?
these loft situations where it's like all of our bedrooms were in the middle of the room. Nobody had any light. Like we had windows on the front of Canal Street, and then the back was like a street called Lisbonard, so like the kitchen had light. So, but all our bedrooms were in the middle. So one of my roommates' bedroom was right off the living room, basically, right? So it's like 3:00 in the morning, and oh my God, I wanted to jerk off. I think I was I don't know if you know about,
Jerking off?
cocaine use as well, but it's like for some reason when your dick doesn't work, like,
yeah.
oh, what would be great right now? I'm just going to beat my dick for an hour. So basically,
It's
yeah.
comforting to know that you guys do that to yourselves.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. She's like,
I
come
don't
on, you
discriminate.
fucker. So long story short, I'm all nervous, and I know Iesha, my roommate, she's in the other, like right there, and I'm like, shit, I got to keep the volume down real low. So it's VCR days. Got the tape in, so one hand on myself, and one like on the. I think this is gonna help me that if I just push stop, she's not gonna know that I'm in the living room with my like jerking off. So like it's just a very uncomfortable situation. So anyways, finish my business, do all that, go to bed, wake up in the morning. All three of them are sitting on the couch.
Oh no.
I'm like,
Like
oh.
we need to have a talk.
And
Yeah.
I thought we were good. I go, what's up? They're like, you gotta go. I'm like, what?
You and your red tape.
Yeah, basically like, but they made us some shit. They're like, things just aren't working out here. And then, like, I'm like, what happened? I'm like, and then I'm like, okay, it's about last night, right? And they're like, yeah, that and whatever. But it's like, yeah, you can't jerk off in the fucking living room, you piece of shit. And so they kicked me out. Oh, like,
Did you try to like bucket and say, no, I can change?
I basically was begging them. I was like, please.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't really, I was just like, I'm sorry. I'm just like, I'll get a TV in my room, whatever. It didn't work. They were just like, you got to go. This is gross.
Where was Iesha from?
Aisha's from It's funny. Aisha's from Berkeley, Oakland area.
If this is a lie, it's
color
kind
is
of
White
messed
girl.
up that you
A
gave.
white girl named Iesha?
I-
That's how it.
Aisha,
Ain't no white-
I went to school with a white Aisha. Aisha Walker. Yep. Sure did.
dude, she's,
Aisha?
Aisha?
Dude,
That's
she's-
like a white girl named
she's,
Keisha.
she's straight off the Mayflower. Aisha Sharp.
Well, I am a Felicia though.
That's,
Yeah, Felicia.
Yeah, but that's not even your real name.
It's
It's,
an Eng-
Felicia.
I think it's
Felicitas.
an English name. Oh no. Anyways,
I
so,
too
yeah.
went to high school with an Iesha white girl.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Wow.
Huh.
So it's a
Wow.
myth. You're racist.
Racist.
I was like, he's telling a story. Ain't no white woman named Aisha. Remember that song?
I've never met a white girl named Aisha.
Me either.
Wow.
I agree. I mean, I thought it was strange when I first met her, but I got over it.
And
what'd
how
she
much
do?
was your?
What does she do?
Yeah.
She is a coctologist, whatever you call it. She writes like mixology books. She's out here sometimes.
A
Okay.
coctologist.
Are you friendly?
I'd be
with
like, yeah.
We're all family now. Like it all like worked out towards the end, but it was like that was
But
just
you
like
had to leave.
well, yeah, because like I was such a mess. They're like, we like you as a person, but you cannot be doing all the things you do in the house. And,
Which one did you like the most, though, out of all three? You had to like one of them more than...
Alicia was the one that I had a crush on.
Alicia.
Alicia Barone. And
Wait, so it's... wait.
what?
It's-
Barone. What?
It's Alicia and Aisha?
Alicia, Iesha, and Irina.
Man, get out of here.
What?
You
And
never said their names together. You just be like, come here, y'all.
And
You didn't...
Irina was
Aisha,
from,
Alicia.
and
Yeah.
Irina was from Berkeley as well, but her last name was Ochinikov or something. Big Russian name, long name.
So you had a white woman named Aisha. And then you had a...
Italian girl named Alicia.
And then
A
the...
Russian girl named Irina.
So how much was your guys' rent in that loft?
Back then, 2004-ish, it was like $2,600 for a huge, like 2,500 square foot loft. Paid Chinatown rent. Like, we had one of those crazy, like, it was an old sweatshop.
And how? And what were you were doing? Making your living as a comedian?
Fuck, then no. I went
Selling
to,
sperm.
I went to, yeah, right. I was attending Atlantic Theater Company, the acting school through NYU, and I was bartending all over the city, whatever, doing cocaine.
So you also were a
Acting like an actor.
coctologist.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing. Like in New
Yeah.
York, LA, same thing. It's like if you're rubbing elbows with people, you're like, we're doing this. I'm like, no, you're not. You're sitting around coffee table with me at 4 a.m. talking about the class you're gonna take.
So
I'm so glad I'm not in
I'm
that
sorry if
bullshit.
I didn't understand this. So you did move out.
I did move out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you guys were friendly afterwards.
Yeah, after a while, like I ended up living in Williamsburg before there was Whole Foods and shit, whatever. But I got a cheap room out there. Everything blew over, and we became friends later.
How
She
long
was at
did
my
they-
wedding.
How long did they give you to get out and find a place? Was
Like,
it
is it-
immediate?
No, like 2 weeks. It was just
Okay.
they were just like, this has got to stop.
You
I mean,
can
then they
you
started.
can say you say that we became friends, but then you just say she. She went to my wedding.
Yeah, only
As
she went.
in-
Yeah,
Well,
which
Alicia,
one?
Alicia did not go. Aisha went to my wedding
Aisha.
because she was.
Did y'all play the Aisha song?
Well, this is the thing though too, because the reason,
Aisha.
in my defense, the reason I thought it was okay to do kinda is because like Aisha for sure was like one of the dudes. Like she came out later as a lesbian. She was always with guys. All of her friends were dudes.
Yeah, but she doesn't spank it in the living room.
Yeah, and
No.
if she don't like men, she don't want to see your man meet.
I know.
Yeah.
Now thinking about the
If you'd had a woman over there,
well, that's
she
how,
probably
that's
would.
what cocaine and alcohol do. You think it's like, yeah, I'm not going to get caught. I'm in the other room with my hand on the VCR. I still remember that video though. That was
I don't know about these two stories because then it's like a 9/11 story. That's fucked up.
I know.
But then is that fucked up if you lie about it or if it's the truth?
I don't know. He also,
you
I think he's trying to throw me off because before it started, he's like, I got this story. I don't know if I should say his name. But then he said it in here with no
He was just
problem.
trying to. He was just trying to throw you off out there.
no. I talked to my wife
Yeah.
about it. She's like, who gives a shit? It's not like fucking whatever.
And
It's
then
not-
he
I'm
trying
not-
to
I'm not
add his
imp-
wife in there, and see, we co-sign for other women, right? He
Mm.
know if
'Cause
his
if-
wife said it, it's true.
No, because if I had to, I could get the girl to admit that it happened too. Because she'd be like, "Yeah, it fucking happened, Aaron." Like she's like a.
What's your wife's name? Moesha?
Her name is Hillary, spelled Hilaire. It's true.
Hilaire. Really?
All right. Any comments there, Austin?
Leah in particular says not even a warning to get kicked out. Like you got your 2 weeks notice,
Yeah.
but they didn't even give you like a slap on the
Yeah.
dick.
Why
Because,
would
like
I
I-
don't understand
like I
why
said,
I don't understand why one of those women just didn't fucking throw a book at your head.
Okay, do you understand? You probably understand this. It's like when people have kind of had enough, then they can name a million things you did wrong. They're like, this is happening. You take things out. Like I would like. It was really hot there in the summer too. Like I would take people's fans and put it in. I was a mess. I was like, it was like having a grown kid in their house going, "What's Aaron gonna do? Eat my food? Fucking
Who was
jerk off
there
in the living room?
first?
What?"
Who was there first?
Iesha was there first, and she lived there with her. The reason they got the loft is because her cousin Damian Loeb, who's like a big painter, he bought it so he could. It was like so he could use that as kind of like a art studio. And then he moved out, and then she took over all the rooms. And back in the day, like you could pay we were paying our rent to a diamond store in Chinatown on Canal Street. It was like very old school, very unorganized. We had a landline.
Huh.
Well, she adds VHS in 2004. Plausible, sure, but probable? Maybe not.
I did have a DVD player by that time.
We had, I think, a DVD VHS combo at that time.
We had
2004.
I don't remember what
Something like- yeah.
For sure, there's VHS still. I think.
Yeah, I think that still would have been around. It definitely wasn't an iPhone.
What was the name of the tape?
Shit, at least I didn't have
It
one.
was a Hustler video a friend got me for my birthday. I was like, I was never really into this. Is like when you had to pay for porn too, and I was never really into porn that much. It had one tape. It had this one scene in it. It was my go-to.
And what
And-
is it? What is it exactly?
What exactly happened?
Was the go-to.
I do remember. I swear to God, because it was on some beach, and it was this extra. My wife's gonna kill me if she listens to this. Anyways, it was just kind of like what is now called, I guess, reverse cowgirl kind of thing
Oh,
on the
okay.
beach,
Uh-huh.
and it got me there. You know?
That was your deal. That was your fix there.
The artistic
Hey,
beauty
sorry.
of the
Yeah.
sunset in the background.
Sorry for this, but this is my deal. No judgment.
Okay.
I
fair
don't.
enough.
That's not that freaky. I think you're okay.
Ken can't get over the roommate name situation, and Matthew Bowen says he's calling BS on this story for sure.
Yeah.
But it's almost so crazy. Why would he make that up?
Well, why would he also lie about being in New York on 9/11 and
He
Steven
might have
Dorff?
been there, but then his girlfriend may not have boned.
Steven Dorff.
Yeah,
But he
Dorff
knew
man.
the exact name of her uncle that was a painter, too.
Yeah.
That was very
Yeah,
specific.
But maybe that's like part of it. The lie is part of a true story, and then he changed it at the end. Maybe one of the
He did
girls.
say Iesha went to his wedding.
Yeah.
These
But
But
people,
said
then he
was
got
closest-
Aisha and Alicia mixed up.
He was closest with Alicia.
these
he said.
these
No, he
people
said
are-
Iesha. I thought he said he was.
No, he said
closest to.
Aisha was the one because Aisha came to his
Iesha
wedding.
Sharp went to my wedding. Yes.
Yeah.
Call her up.
You never believe me. Austin never believes me. You think I always have the wrong information?
It's Liars Club, man. I don't believe anybody.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. All right, let's move on to your second story.
All right. Well, this is another story. I was younger and following the wrong crowd and not really standing up for myself, being a follower. So the first part was my fault. I was coming out of Target and I did some really bad stuff that I'm not proud of. I saw a lady's purse and I took it. I took her whole purse.
In a cart?
Huh?
Was it in a cart?
No,
Yeah,
it was in
where
a
was
cart.
it?
It was in a cart. I had left out of Target. Her window was down. She left her purse in there and I stole it.
Out of her car
Yes.
or the cart?
No. Her
Her
car
car.
with the window down. I stole it.
And this
Damn.
was after the historical black college.
Yes.
Huh.
So,
After you got an education, huh? Sure. Do you want your money back?
you see, I'm a comedian, so hey, I need some of it. You hear that, Sally Mae? But so took the purse, and I'm just wanting cash out of it. But then I go
Right.
home to all of my roommates, and one of my friends, and y'all owe me, Sheila Scales, said, "Hey."
That's my mama's purse.
No, she said, "Hey, I got a friend that work at Saks. Let's go." Yes, so
Oh.
about 5 of us, and this is about to be a real when they see us moment. About 5 of us go down to the Galleria in Houston. And we go to all of these shops, and I'll never forget this lady's name because I had to write her an apology letter afterwards. Her name is Rosa Ann St. Julian. And what my girlfriend did, she knew someone that worked there, so the lady just allowed us to open up credit in the Rosa Ann St. Julian's name. So I'm sitting there because it's a bunch of us, and she knows the girl at the counter. So I'm sitting there, and this lady comes up and says, "Hi, what's your name?" And I was like, "Hi, I'm Crystal Powell. How are you?" And she goes, "Oh, great." She goes, "Do you know Roseanne St. Julian?" And I was like, "No." And then she goes, "Come with me." And I was like, "Okay," still not knowing my black ass is getting arrested. So they take me to the bottom, and then by then they have all of our friends, but I'm the one that went with the undercover. So I go to jail. I'm arrested at the Houston Galleria. I go to jail, and while I'm there, one of my friend's moms comes.
How old were you?
I'm like 22.
Okay.
Yeah. So I go to jail. My friend's mom comes down and says, "Hey, you don't need to," because they wanted to know who all was there, because I was going to have to pay the restitution back for this. So they're like, "Who all was there? You didn't do this by yourself." It was like $6,000 worth of stuff. So they wanted me to say who all was there. And so my friend's mom came and said, "Hey, it's not that big of a deal. You don't have to say
$6,000. That's a big deal.
That's a big deal. Being arrested is a big deal.
Yeah.
But at the time, all I'm worried about is getting out of jail. So unfortunately, I allowed my friend's mom to tell me not to tell on my friends, which I didn't. And then, so I basically didn't realize that that was a felony to actually open up credit in someone's name. And in Texas, if you have a felony, you can't breathe. You can't rent an apartment. You can't register to vote. It's so much shit you can't do having a felony. But when you're young and you don't want your parents to find out that you've been arrested, you're like, just let me sign whatever to get out. So I got out. I was on 4 years probation. I never told on my friends. I still know them to this day. And I think you guys owe me an apology.
Wow, I will say my best friend in high school.
Major problems with this story. Go ahead.
My best friend in high school, Jenny, we worked at the Waffle House together.
Okay. I love Waffle House cheese eggs. Right. Oh, I love it. I'm sorry, I love it.
Chopped, smothered, and covered,
what?
baby.
You better know it.
Now, she was getting married.
Okay.
She wanted me to be a bridesmaid. She got married in the park. It was very low budget, right?
We assume that.
Sorry if you get married in a park anytime soon. She didn't mean that.
You didn't have to
park weddings are great.
But she wanted me to do it, and I was like, I don't have money for a dress. You want us to all dress the same. So she stole all of our dresses from Target. So, I mean, you will do desperate things.
Yeah, but to be in Houston.
I know, and I'd already graduated school.
Yeah.
I just think you're too good of a person.
It's not.
You're making me feel like shit.
No, you know, I just think.
I'm just finally telling my truth about that. I chose this place, because I've always been ashamed of it.
Oh, look at you trying to play the game.
Look at that. No, I'm serious.
Foreshadowing.
I've always been ashamed of it, and I was like, you know what? This is the time. I promise you.
I stole from Claire's.
Okay. I remember Claire's. That's back when 579 used to be out, too.
Kmart stealing when I was like 12.
You got caught?
The Blue Dot Special.
Yeah, 12. But
from Kmart? And you call me white trash. Go ahead.
No, I call you white trash as a sign of affection.
Term of
We're on the
endearment.
same page there. Yeah.
Here's the thing. So we had Johnny Hardwick on the podcast. He's on King of the Hill, and he told a story which turned out to be true about how he was busking, playing the guitar on Congress, like
what
a Main
did you
Street.
call that?
Busking, where you play guitar for money, you know.
Okay.
But he's doing it, you know, just because he's learning how to play guitar. He's his own person. So he's an awesome guy, though. So he got arrested, and they thought he was a vagrant because he looks a little disheveled because he just got up. I'm sure, like, well, let me go busk. And the cops took him down, and they locked him. Remember, they locked him up for a couple of weeks, and so. And Texas,
you think about
they don't
that,
fucking play,
right.
And I can't imagine that you did credit for $6,000 and those people let you go. I can't imagine that.
No, they didn't let me go. I was put on probation for 4 years, so
without going to a judge, without having a lawyer there?
I went through all of that process. I just got out. I got bonded out. I had to go.
Who bonded you out?
My girlfriend's mom.
How much was that?
I don't remember that. No, I ain't gonna tell you. I don't remember that. But I got bonded out. Matter of fact, if I think hard enough, I'd be able to tell you my probation officer. I couldn't do drugs. I couldn't do nothing. It helped me in school because I had to be on the straight and narrow. I'm telling you.
In school, you said you were done with the black college.
I didn't tell you I was done. You trying to trick me up. I'm gonna
No,
remember
you
mine.
did say you
Yeah,
said
you
it was
did.
after.
I said I didn't say after. I don't think I said after.
Play it back. No.
I know, right?
I said, is this after the historical black college? And you said yes.
Okay, all right.
Calm it
Okay,
down.
sorry.
Come on, take it down.
Shit.
a notch.
She is lying. Don't be rude.
Okay.
Jeez.
Lord.
Now, were you in school?
Listen.
Yes, I was in school because one of the girls was my teammate of mine. We played basketball together.
How old are you when you started college?
18.
When's your birthday?
9/22. Something.
Now, that would have been 4 years at 22. How many years did you do?
I was in school a very long time. I'm not going to lie. And then I did grad school. Then I taught like right after. Put it like this, even further. I graduated June of a year. And then August, I was teaching at Waller High School. And that's part of the reason, because of the fact that I had been in trouble. They were like, hey, because my coach got me to the job.
I think it's the first time someone tried to convince us that they actually did a crime.
I know, right? Walking in my truth today.
So what are people saying?
They don't believe his face could steal nothing.
Well, there are some people that don't believe it. There are some that do. Leah, in particular, just had a case of identity theft in her own life.
Oh, shit.
So
Leah. We ain't all alike, Leah.
she's just reported our dear friend Crystal Powell to the police, and she said she'll be back with us in a minute.
Well, if it is true, Crystal has already done her time.
Thank you, Leah. Dang. Snitches get stitches,
She's
bitch.
over there. She's in the
sorry.
camera.
Okay. Reading. Leah, show. Dang. What happened to female empowerment?
She also said that her gut tells her this one is true, but we know her track record. So, but I also kind of felt like this one was true just because of her conviction, no pun intended. Like she was like very
I think
animated
you
with
answered
this one.
Yeah, but she answered the.
Jess's questions quickly as well.
Yeah, but
But
she
wrong.
But she gave more information afterwards. You know, like the way she answered him, I'm a little suspect.
Yeah, somebody said both stories were pretty light on details, but both stories.
What else you want to know? What y'all want to know?
More details than the
It's
other.
just because I didn't catch that you had been bonded out.
Yes.
When you first talked about it, and that's a big piece of information.
You
and
have
then
to
you
get bonded out.
Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
They ain't gonna let me out. The only way you get let out is if you work for the feds.
And how long
and
did
I
it
wasn't
take to get?
cool. I wasn't a CI.
And that you don't remember how much it cost. It would
No, I
seem to
don't.
me that would be one of the things that would never fuck it. I got a traffic ticket once when I was 18. I still remember it was $110.
Did you pay for? You had to pay for it.
Yeah. I had to
See,
pay
that's
for it.
why. See, I didn't have the money to pay for it. So when you're not paying for it, just
So
like
why
the
did she
tab,
bond you out? Just
because
she
I didn't tell on her daughter.
Right.
One time my dad got arrested and I got the call and I had to go down to the police station and this bondsman was there like trying to convince me to bond him out and I was like, no, fucking let him stay.
Dang. Yeah, you gotta
Let him
get
stay in
bonded out.
prison.
Yeah.
You drove down there to say that?
Yeah.
You didn't get him out. She took him out. She got him out. You got him out.
I just
right?
didn't know I forget why I ended up down there or how it happened, but I ended up at the police station and I'm like, well, what's happening? What do I got to do? Whatever. And he
Do
was
you
trying
remember
to
how much it was, the bond?
something like $1,500, something like that.
She doesn't remember exactly.
But at least she has some recollection of it.
Yeah, because was it enough that you took the blame that your girlfriend's mother didn't want you to pay it back?
Yeah, I don't remember paying anything back. The only thing that I had to pay was monthly when I went to see my probation officer. I'd have to go drive to see my probation officer. I'd take a drug test, and I'd have to pay money every time I came in, unless I was on the road playing
Because the
basketball.
bond would have been in her name, so she would have had to pay for it, right?
Yep.
I don't know.
Ken's starting to question it because she's selling it too hard, he says.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
he can't get over the HIPAA reveal on the first story
Yeah.
about, bringing somebody into the hospital or whatever.
Yeah. And how indignant you were that he didn't stick around.
You stick around. That's like me getting sick if I'm in the car with you.
Look
Are
at
we
her
getting
defending out both stories. Look at that.
Well, I'm just saying, you don't leave someone when they're sick, even if you don't have any plans of being with me after that day. Let's say he was going to hit it and quit it and never see me again. The common decency is to check and make sure I'm all right. Check on
I
me.
agree. I
Come
agree
on,
with that.
man. That's worse than not calling after the date. You don't care if I'm dead or alive? Where's the compassion?
Leah says she forgives you for stealing her identity because of your little dimples.
Oh, thanks, Leah. I promise I won't ever do it again. And I'm going to tell on people from here on out that do.
What's your thoughts, Michael Evans, over there?
Now that she's defending both stories,
I
like
know,
you're saying,
I know.
I'm fucking spun out. But there was so much conviction on this second one that I was waiting for her to be like, come on, you know edibles don't kick in 15 minutes. Like, I'm obviously telling the truth on this story. But I don't know. This one seems, I don't know a ton about the Texas court system like you guys kind of seem to.
Well, I don't know, but I just know that they don't mess around in
They
Texas.
don't.
Yeah.
This one sounds
then
hard to
Houston,
wiggle out of.
yeah.
And the first one seems like something that could really happen. Maybe if she got her times fucked up on how long she was in the bathroom. Which, by the way, even minimal at 15 minutes, too long to be in the bathroom while a dude's waiting for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Really?
Yeah,
I feel like
agree.
15's a lot.
Yeah.
What if she
yeah.
was showering?
Exactly.
Strange thing
She
to do on
should've-
this date we had.
she
We were
should've-
having
So
dinner.
when you
Cleaned up
yeah,
beforehand.
I know, but just say if we go horseback riding and we come back to my place, you don't want me to get in there and
But
and,
you
and
were
clean
not
some
If you
things?
guys
horseback
went
riding.
horseback riding, you should have mentioned that in the story. That's a great point.
We did it. But people
Guess
freshen
the name
up
of your
before.
filly.
You know, I'm bigger, so sometimes a good spaghetti gets me sweaty.
I like it. Hey, you gotta freshen up. Put your sack
Okay.
in the sink.
All right.
Trust
Jesus.
Well,
I don't
it's
know
not
about
just for
this. All
women.
right, so we're gonna have Austin recap the stories real quick, and we're gonna see what shakes out.
All right. Story one for Aaron. The night of September 10th, 2001, he stays at the Mercer Hotel back when he used to be a raging alcoholic. He woke up hungover to the news of 9/11, but at first didn't believe it until he looked out the window and saw it. They evacuate to the lobby, but let them keep drinking in the lobby. When Blue Cigarette spokesman Steven Dorff's assistant was trying to liquor Aaron up so that Dorff could steal his girlfriend, which he did. Story two.
Piece of shit.
He's a bastard. 2003 or 2004, he had one TV in his house, and he had one jerk tape in there to beat his bishop to. One of his roommate's bedrooms is adjacent to the living room where he would beat it, and Aaron's suddenly got an urge to whack it while he's coked out of his mind. And then his roommate Iesha kicked him out for jerking it. In
No,
the
they all
living room.
three kicked him out.
Yeah, but
Together
Iesha was
as
more
unanimous.
I have
Yeah.
2 questions.
Yes.
The number one question is, what time did 9/11 happen?
9/11 happened at like 8 in the morning. something
So
like
you
that.
were already up all night,
Oh.
already drinking.
When I woke up,
Did you go to bed, or were you
I
upstairs?
passed out at some time at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. But then,
upstairs in your room.
yeah, and then I woke up like, this is happening. I'm like, bullshit. Go back to bed. Whatever. Fuck you. And then walked out. I'm like, oh, that's happening. Yeah.
What time did you say it happened?
Like early morning. Like I was woken up and told at around 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning.
That's right, East Coast. Well, no.
Because I remember I was living West Coast, and I got up early in the morning to hear the news. I was watching the news when it happened.
Because everybody was going
I
to
was-
work. Everybody,
I
like
was
so
in
many
Texas.
people
so
were like
that
on
must
their
have been
way.
so maybe like
was right in the
oh,
middle
so
of
you like what time?
Because I just
around?
remember it was there was around commute time because everyone was like,
Okay.
Okay.
All
All
right,
right. He's
all
right on
right,
that.
all
Okay.
I would never.
Okay. Oh, then I had a second question about your other story
Mhm.
about what were the walls between the bedrooms like? How were they cordoned off?
Basically, it's
'Cause
just
it was a lot.
drywall all the way, not even up to the ceiling. Like
Uh-huh.
basically, they were just like 7 feet tall,
Uh-huh.
ceilinged off, and there was 4 of them total. One there, Iesha's, and then 2 in the back by the kitchen.
And what was your source of moisture?
Oh, for jerking? Oh, I never use that.
I was like,
I got my technique down with that.
you don't need nothing?
Nah, it's already messy
Like a
enough.
dry heave.
I'm trying to push the buttons on the VC. It's like,
He likes it rough.
like
Poor
I said, I thought
man.
I was being sly. It's like they're just gonna think
Even
I'm
at
watching
the-
TV really
even
close.
at the beach, you don't have to have any. Even
the
with
thing
that
is-
fantasy of it, like
No, then you would want it rough because it'd be like sand.
You don't want it
Oh,
to
yeah,
feel
the
like
I
sand.
was such
trying to rash that man a half from some sand.
I was such a mess back then. It all
about
sucks. Life is so much
And I
better.
gonna be quiet anyways.
All right,
Still, it
let's-
sound like sand. Rank
let's for sure take a vote. What are your thoughts, Austin?
I don't know. The Steven Dorff thing seems kind of unbelievable. Like, that story is almost easy to believe without the Steven Dorff thing. But like somebody just said online, forgive me for forgetting who, that might be what makes it true. That the story is so outrageous that we would naturally.
Well, that's
believe
why I
it
never
might be true.
forgot it. I mean, it's just kind of like it's all it's resonant.
But I've known Aaron for a short time, and in that short time, I can see that something along the lines of the second story has definitely happened in his life for sure. Being kicked out of an apartment for jerking off.
So hey, some control room research is showing that Steven Dorff.
You're not
Whoa.
Googling. No
Whoa.
Googling, Michael. No Googling.
If you Google shit, don't tell us.
Michael, shit, come
gonna,
on,
it's
man.
just
the
gonna
alarms came out.
prove my story's true.
How long have you been here, Michael?
I know.
Jeez.
How long
This
have you
didn't
been married?
Seem like spoiler
How long have I
info.
been
This
married?
seemed like-
Yes.
A year.
All right, I'll stop
Oh.
for now.
Yeah, but we've been
All right,
together like
we'll
6
ask
years.
you after we take the vote what your information was. But what is your vote, Michael?
What?
My vote is
Sorry, I have inside information now to vote.
Yeah.
Yeah, he might not. He might have
No,
disqualified
it seemed
himself.
like no. I don't. I won't say what I was gonna say, but it didn't seem like something that would hurt the case. It seemed. My vote is that I don't know. I want to hear more. I wasn't ready to vote. Continue.
Okay, what was your vote? I'm sorry.
For now, I'm going to say the first story's true.
Okay, 9/11 story is true. What's your vote?
I'm going to say 9/11's not true because of the Mercer Street and from where he was at that he could see everything up that canal.
You know that area?
Oh, you know that.
Yeah, he like, bitch, you don't travel. You don't know what the fuck that.
I know that area.
I think the first story is a lie as well, because the second story would be really messed up if you were trying to come up with names and you just looked at Crystal and you were like, Iesha.
Yeah.
Wait. So you're saying you believe the second or you don't believe it?
I do believe it.
Because she's saying it would have been racist if you looked at her and came up with the name.
I don't care about this.
The same thought crossed my mind, though.
I say all kinds.
He did. I didn't think about
My brain doesn't work that
What
way.
name do you think of
It's
when you look
all
at
of it.
Jessica?
What?
What name do you think of when you look at Jessica?
Deb.
Okay.
That is funny.
We're cut from the same bowling ball. We got the same kind of.
Deb, that
Okay.
is.
I think I'm gonna say that I'm gonna say the first story is a lie. I'm gonna say the first because I see that it could happen for sure. Steven Dorff and all that.
Maybe it happened to a friend of his.
Yeah, but I
It
like
was.
to. Yeah, that's true. I like to. I'm just gonna. God, I'm just gonna say the first one is a lie. What do people online say?
Ken says first is true. Mel says first is a lie. Promo says first is a lie. Leah says first is a lie.
What about you, Michael Evans? Now or never?
I think that I want to say that the first one. I'm trying to figure out why the second one would be a lie. Like, I have reasons I think the first one's true, but I don't really have a lot of reasons I don't think the second one should be true.
So
That
you
sounds
think
like a
the
totally
first one is a
realistic
lie?
story. I think the first one. I think the first one's true.
Okay.
That's backwards from what you said.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
Okay.
I'm saying that would make the second one the lie, and I can't really figure out why I should justify that being the lie. That doesn't seem like that
Yeah,
wild of a story.
I get what you're saying. I don't have justification for the second story to be a lie. I just think that's the lie
'Cause they
because
would've
the
put
first
him
one.
Depends on how your mind
outrageous.
works. I mean, I can explain it all after, but
All right.
Let's hear it.
What is the lie?
the lie is the second story.
Damn it!
Woo!
Swear to God.
When's the last time I got one right? This rules.
Not that I didn't think of that scenario, but like that's the way my mind works. Being like,
Did you live with three girls named Iesha, Alicia,
yes,
and Irina?
yes.
Call Iesha right now.
At 355 Canal Street at Mercer, next to Propane. It was a fucking famous party house in New York back in the day. Yeah.
So let me, Michael, what was your piece of information that you had?
Oh, it was something that was in the comments,
Uh-huh.
and it was
Oh,
about
the 9/11 movie.
It was about Steven Dorff being in town filming a movie in 2001.
It was in the 9/11.
Oh,
yeah.
that would have given
He
us
was-
a lot. You're like, oh, it wouldn't have mattered.
Well, I didn't really know, but
No wonder you got it right, you fucking douchebag.
I think
Hey,
I verified that he was in fact there at that time. Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
yeah, but it wasn't me. I was going with
I
what's in
don't
the
know what he was
comments.
filming, but he was living there for like a month, I think, because he was bragging about it. He was being like, I'm gonna fuck. Basically, I could tell, he was using his power as a half-ass movie star to,
Dang,
Pull
and he
some
took
puss.
your girl that night.
Yeah. Well, I'm not mad at him
You
because
see.
you were all fucked up.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
yeah.
And I'm not mad
No,
at
and
myself
he got
anymore.
his
so-
wife now.
Yeah,
He,
now
he-
you're, it
yeah,
turned
he
out
got
how
his
it's supposed
wife.
to turn out. And,
Hilaire with the E
good.
instead
You got
of
us,
the
though. You got a lot of us on that one.
You did.
You got a lot of us on that one. All right, let's move on to the second set of stories. Will you recap them quickly?
Yes, ma'am. Story 1, she is a girl and was in college outside of Houston, where she awkwardly played sports as a tomboy and tried to get this guy's attention, but he wasn't picking up on the hint and dated all of her friends in front of her throughout that time. Later in life, she sees him and they agree to go on a date. Afterward, they start to hook up and she does a sexy little dance for him, but she passes out, hurts herself, and he dumps her body at the hospital and leaves. That was Jason Wheeler, if anybody was watching Jason Wheeler.
Jason Wheeler.
Fat teacher piece of
Yeah.
Bastard.
Teaching summer school.
We better bleep his name out.
I know, right? 'Cause we're
Unless
attached.
that's the lie, then that was the lie name,
Yeah.
right? Story 2, she was a rebellious young lady, and one day, coming out of a Target, decided to rob a sweet little old lady of her purse. When she got home, her friend talked her into going
Hold on, do we know it was an old lady? Did
Yeah,
you look
Rosa
at...
Ann St. Julian. Remember I gave you her name?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean she was old.
She
lady.
did say
Rosa
old
Ann
lady, I
St.
think.
Julian? Who
I don't
name
think I
that
would
is?
have added
Yeah.
it.
It's in the South. Anything is possible.
That's-
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
you're right.
But when she got home, her friend talked her into going to Saks and stealing some expensive stuff there. She ends up being arrested by an undercover cop, and her friend's mom comes to bond her out of jail to talk her out of snitching on her friends, and as a result commits felonious crimes.
I
In
have
Texas, they have St. Julian's.
What? Well, a lot of that sounds like from Louisiana
Yeah,
or
that's-
something like that.
Houston's
old
like
school.
right by
yeah,
Louisiana.
Yeah,
It's
really
yeah,
close, right?
Real southern, real southern Louisiana kind of Florida name. I have questions.
Okay.
So, did you go to school through scholarship or did your parents pay?
No and no.
Who paid then?
The government.
So through
Grants.
Pell
Grant,
Grants, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Go ahead.
All your whole school?
Well, and some loans. I got some student
Yeah.
loans as
And
well.
what does your parents do for a living? What does your mother
Well, they
do?
used to. My mother was a school teacher, and my dad was an engineer. Rebellious child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, it's such a tricky one.
I know, because it's like the second story is obviously her throwing us for a loop, right? It's obviously, if
Yeah.
this is true, like, wow, we would have never thought. But then the first one, I do remember we went on a road trip, her and I. She did talk about her being like a tomboy a
Yeah,
lot.
but come on, we were all tomboys.
I'm
Not
just- I'm
everybody. It
just
was some
saying.
girls that was flat out hot sauce in ninth grade.
Hmm.
They regular catch up now, but back it was some girls.
But that
Everybody-
wasn't in ninth grade.
But I'm just saying back.
I was like one of the
Dang.
first with huge boobs.
Details.
District attorney over there. Lord.
Trying to get to the bottom
Yeah.
of the case.
Gotta get one right.
So yeah, I'm really stuck on this one.
Yeah.
I feel like the second one is that's really a game changer for all of this.
Hey, what kind of car did you steal the purse out of?
Good question.
Ooh.
What time of year was this, by the way?
I want to say it was.
Did
the
you say
summer.
you stole it out of a car? You
Yeah.
stole it
Yeah.
out of a car?
Her window was down.
Yeah.
Maybe she didn't realize her window was down?
Asking
Because
for it.
otherwise,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just like
Almost
yeah.
like it was planted, like
Yeah.
with a TV show.
This is for me. Yeah.
especially
But
old
this-
Southern women.
But
My
not
grandma.
anymore, Leia.
Oh, my grandma would be like putting her purse in the trunk. You know, she's not gonna leave it out even to be
Houston? In
seen.
Houston? Yeah.
You know, Southern old ladies.
Yeah.
Lord, you better put your purse in the
Yeah.
trunk now.
Yeah,
put
they
it
do
in the
put it
boot.
trunk. But
Yeah,
not
my
Rosa.
nanny- My nanny Vicky would tuck hers under
Yeah.
the front seat.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
I
heavily.
agree on that. I think it's what do people online say?
Well, Ken, Matthew, and Promo have all voted. They all say that this is a lie, or that the first story is a lie. That the
Yeah, I'm stuck on the marijuana 15-minute thing.
that got me. And like Ken Lofgren was saying, the HIPAA thing was kind of weird. So my gut tells me that the second one was true, based on her conviction too. Because when she was telling that story, it felt somebody even said online it feels like she's telling a true story.
The
here.
first story or
or
the
second
story? Yeah.
second story.
Yeah.
Or she's lying better.
Or she might be a phenomenal liar.
Yeah. What do you think, Michael?
I don't know. Again, it's like there's 15 minutes is not long enough.
Yeah.
But this is the thing.
But she
I'm
did
let-
say she didn't eat all day.
And you
Okay.
you gotta let it kick in.
Yeah.
Come on now. And we've been out drinking. We've
How
had
much
good
did
dinner.
you eat? Do you remember how much you ate?
No, I don't remember how much I ate.
Well, what was the rolling into like totally just?
Oh, you ate that on a full stomach. I'm sorry, Michael.
That's okay. Well,
Wow.
well, do you remember basically from like when you started feeling woozy to just and then you just crash through a table and you wake up? Do you remember it
I
kind of
do.
happening slowly? Because it would come on at least sort of memorably slow.
You're absolutely right. And I can remember the song that I was dancing to because I
Yeah.
was giving him a little, shwar, shwar, shwar. And I just remember everything me getting really hot and then sweating. And then that's it.
On
Yeah.
a
We were-
full stomach, though?
I mean,
And you know what? Edibles for me usually take like an hour.
Yeah,
listen, I
that's
don't
what I
know.
was saying.
Not, my edibles do not take
I
that
don't know about all
long.
these soft drugs. I mean, what is it, marijuana?
Mine don't an hour because I was just on a flight the other day, and before we actually got to the point where I could pull my computer out, and I was sweating, and I was like, "Dang, I shouldn't have had two." because I
So you
overjudged it.
eat weed so you can sweat? I'm just kidding.
I eat it so I can like relax and go to sleep, especially on flights.
I am going to say this. Oh, I hate to do this. The second story is a lie, because when you were telling the second story, the bonding thing, like I didn't catch any of that when you were telling that part, and I was a little confused about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like you were adding more information as you were going along in the story.
Got it.
God, oh, you guys are so hard
Did
today.
either of you vote yet?
I'm going to vote now. She just voted.
I'm saying the second story.
I'm going to
is
go
the
against
lie.
her and say that the first story is a lie.
I'm going second story's a lie.
Because she also has been hanging out with Joey Diaz, so she knows and does her weed right.
First story's a lie is what I say.
Yeah, but I know a lot of people hang out with Joey Diaz and they can't do edibles.
Yeah, but you were smoking too on our road trip, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was all about getting high.
Same.
Yeah, that's why.
Same.
All right, I'm still sticking with the second. God, I hate this. I'm still sticking with the second story is a lie. All right, and you, Aaron? I'm sorry.
I think that the first story is a lie. It's really good writing though. Like it's definitely like it's good. It's good. I just don't think it really. I just don't think you would sit in the bathroom for 15 minutes. Just I mean, it's like I guess people do that.
Yeah, and it would take longer.
Or I just think to be that methodical about being on a date just seems like it's a or just
You
about
don't
like
know
what I'm going to
women.
do in this. Yeah, I mean, I do. I think I know women.
How long does it take to put in a diaphragm?
Oh my God.
I don't know. Why you gotta go there?
Let me check
Why
my
you
let me
gotta
check
go
my
there?
10th grade journal. I met one girl that had one of those. I go, what the fuck is this?
All right, so which one is the lie?
The first story is a lie.
Yes.
The first story is a lie.
So
I
I
was
won.
arrested.
No,
Yeah.
I know.
Justin was confused. She was like, "Wait, that's
I can never celebrate because I can never remember. I have to go back and look at my answer and see. Oh yeah, I was right. I was right.
Because
I was like, wait."
I knew I was wrong when I said it. I knew I was wrong when I said it.
Yeah.
another
I
reason
knew
is
I
because
picked the wrong one.
when you're like getting ready, if you're into somebody or whatever, you don't think that clearly about I'm going to go do this. I'm going to,
Well,
you're
I
just kind of
have-
in the moment. You'd forget to go in the moment. You'd be like, cool, I ate an edible. What's happening? You know what I mean? That's why I didn't believe it was true.
Right.
But an edible, when you were 20, how old are you now?
Mm.
I mean, no.
You know, old enough to date
All right,
men
but I'm
that
just,
eat
I
the
don't mean it
colorful
like
pills.
I'm trying to call you. I just mean like, were edibles really around when you were 22? Like,
Ooh, that's a good
yeah,
one.
See?
Oh.
I
I
didn't think
fucked
about
up.
Because back then it would have been like some high
However,
stick
that would have
brownies
been
or
the
something.
question.
That's a true story from my girlfriend.
Oh,
but was it that long ago?
No. It
Yeah,
wasn't
see?
long ago, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that did it. Yeah.
Yeah, I should have asked that
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Damn.
What did you vote on that one, Michael?
I got it wrong.
Okay, that's
He
right.
was like, "I'm quiet back here."
Yeah, no, I got it wrong, and I got the first one right with more information than I should have been allowed to have. So
Yeah,
I'm
we
pretty
don't.
much
That's
0 for
no.
2.
We're not, not counting that one.
fucked
I am
up.
in such a slump.
Yeah.
Anyway, you guys,
Such a slope.
you guys told great stories there. I love the
Yay.
variety of them and all that kind of
Super
stuff
fun.
and sharing it. And thank you for coming by.
It's
and-
therapeutic for me today. I got some shit off
Yeah,
my
you
chest.
did. Yeah,
It's my
you
first
did.
time saying that out
So
loud.
you're a
yeah.
felon?
Yeah.
Ah!
Security.
Yeah. I am a felon. Yeah. Believe
How long
it or
does
not.
that follow
Wow.
you around for?
Well, 10 years I was able to get it expunged, and because I did what is
Diversion. Right? Is that what it's
it?
called?
No, it's called some type of different probation, but yeah. But it's still, if someone wants to go past 10, if someone, for example, when I was a
Yeah.
flight attendant, I had to tell them, hey, this is what's going on. Even when I was a teacher, this is what's going
Like
on.
they
'cause
can
they're
find it if
they
they
can
want.
find it.
You don't
Oh,
have to-
and they
Well,
still hire you though after?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
You don't have to say it, but if they really want to find
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
on you.
Yeah, still, I mean, I just stopped in the corporate world of May 31st.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's
Yeah.
a big share. That's
Yeah,
a big
that's
share.
what I was like,
yeah.
I'm actually starting to write about it and talk about it on stage. So today
good.
was the first day. So
Okay.
I feel good.
Yeah, this show does that to
Yeah.
you. I came out with my virginity story here.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucked up. You don't want to hear it. So where can people find you, follow you? What do you guys have coming up?
Comic Aaron Putnam on Instagram. That's pretty much all I use. My Twitter's a mess. 26th and 27th this month, I'll be at 2 different bowling alleys headlining in Michigan, Howard City and Whitehall. Then in August 13th, I will be at Gotham Comedy Club in New York City. And then 15th, I will be with Robert Kelly and friends at the Slipper Room.
Oh, very nice.
Where's the Slipper Room?
It's in the Lower East Side. It's on Orchard Street, if you know where
Very
that
nice.
is.
Very nice.
Burlesque bar.
And what about you, Crystal?
You can find me online, Crystal P Comedy, and like Jess just mentioned, I just produced my first comedy talk show. It's called Coffee with Crystal. We air it every Friday at noon. August 1st weekend, I'll be headlining in Palm Harbor, Florida, somewhere a little outside of
and
Tampa.
where's your show airing on?
YouTube.
Okay.
It's YouTube.
On your
Yeah.
on your
Way to
YouTube
go.
page.
On the YouTubes.
On the YouTubes, yeah.
Okay,
So,
wonderful.
You know,
I'm
fuck 'em like we
excited
used to.
yeah. Oh, that's good.
I love
Okay.
And what about you, Michael Evans?
You can find me at High Five Michael on Instagram. Here twice a week, and Thursday the 30th in the Belly Room, right?
Yes.
Thursday,
Tuesday. It's a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday,
Yeah,
July
and
30th.
Actually, just wanted to shout out to Promo real quick, who plays along with us. He's coming to the show on the 30th, so we're looking forward to
is?
it.
Oh, nice.
His name's Promo Motion
Oh,
online, so I'm not
great.
sure.
Make sure he gets his
But,
tickets.
Yeah, and I told him to make sure he introduces himself to us when he gets
Is
there.
he on
So
my
we can pick-
Instagram with the car stuff? Is that him?
That could be. That's
Yeah.
what his thing looks
yeah,
like. So.
yeah. He always
The robot-looking one?
I don't know. I just know there's a promo.
You're always making
Yeah.
people feel
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Oh, you mean the robot?
Weddings in the park are for losers.
That slow adult?
I don't think he has a picture. It's like a cartoon. Looks like a
I don't
robot
know
or
that.
something.
I just know he really likes cars, and I'm a big car person, so
Mm.
I always love his Instagram. Anyway, you can follow me at Felicia Michaels. Once again, if you are listening instead of watching, we do stream live from the Comedy Store YouTube page Mondays at 4:30ish and most Fridays at 8:30ish. Like what Michael Evans said, we do have a show Tuesday, July 30th. It's our first Comedy Store show. We're so stoked to have it up in the Belly Room, which is the room that I started my comedy in. We have Christina P. We
Aw.
have French Stewart, fingers
Yeah,
crossed
from
on that.
Third Rock from the Sun.
And we have
Jamie Kennedy.
who is one of our favorites on our
Right.
podcast.
And of course, ourselves and the cheater in there, Michael.
Okay.
And I'm at the Austin Walker on everything.
All
Forgot
right,
that.
and do me a big favor. Yeah, please follow Austin. Follow all of us. Do me a big favor. If you have Amazon Prime, please go watch my documentary about a comedy called Pervs. A bunch of really cool ass comedians are in that. And just leave a review. You don't have to watch it. Just leave a review.
I know.
But I would love for you to watch it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, please take a break from this. If you guys don't mind, please go and subscribe to our own YouTube because we're going to have a new animation
Our
coming out really
animation
soon.
in a week. I think it's going to be done in a week.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. You don't want to miss that.
It's a
So
Bert
subscribe.
Kreischer. Bert Kreischer.
Yeah, subscribe to the Liars Club on YouTube. So just take a break from the Comedy Store for uno momento.
Por favor.
Yeah, maybe we'll do it live here.
Oh, that would be fun. Maybe we'll do that. But then still subscribe. So it'll be there. You can watch it again. And you can follow me at Jess Wellington 2 on everything. Thank you guys. And you've been lied to.
Keep your peepers open for Jessica.
Yeah, that'll
for
be next
net-
year, like
Oh, it's
January.
next- yeah, still
That's what he said.
Netflix, yeah.
Yeah.
Keep them open all the way from now till January.
Ah, hell yeah.
And don't get married in a park.
Yeah.
Don't jerk off. I don't know. Don't drink. It's bad for you.
Okay. I appreciate that, but I really don't like it when my thing gets messed up.
Okay. God, now we're going to hear about it.
And you've been lied to.
Are you happy now, Jessica?
Dun, dun.